Good morning and welcome, Wintergreen, to another morning mobility. So we're going to wake up a little bit, slowly working our way through our joints and through our muscles and our nervous system. Really, we're waking up the nervous system. So let's begin standing. And in case you don't know, by the way, my name is Mike. I'm David Victor's father, and David usually does our videos. Sometimes he comes with me, but this morning, this beautiful sunny morning where I am, he's still sleeping. So I'm here. Maybe he'll join us. We'll see. I'm going to begin by encouraging you just to find a comfortable standing position. Take a moment or two, wherever you are. Hopefully you have some space cleared around you. And let's just kind of stand about hips distance apart or so. And let's start with shoulders. We'll focus a lot today on shoulders and hips. After this class, I like to go out for a walk, especially when it's sunny. So I really like to do a lot of warm up in my lower body with my hips just to get things ready, my knees, my ankles. And then my shoulders, I just have tight shoulders. When I sleep, I tend to sleep on my sides. And I wake up and they're already just a little bit. So let's begin with the shoulders. For me, and hopefully it's good for you as well. So I'm just going to start with some movement, all right? And I'm going to breathe in, reach up, and then when I breathe out, I'm just going to let those arms come down. So I'm just going to begin with some simple lift ups. And I say simple, but of course some of you know, maybe it's not so simple. Some of you, your shoulders are tight, you've got impingement. Some people even frozen shoulders. It's hard to lift those shoulders up all the way. So you just do wherever you are, some maybe limited. So make little adjustments if you need to. And even sometimes doing one at a time can be helpful. It can make it a little bit easier. Really, all we're doing is, it's a nice word, it's flossing. We're flossing the shoulders. So why don't we just do a little bit of flossing, like we're going back and forth to get that muscle start to get warmed up. And it's the shoulder, it's the, let's say the shoulder girdle, the shoulder space. So there's lots of things to move around. I'm trying to do little things like this to kind of get the shoulder blades involved. What I like to try to do is, as I bring the arms up, I try to spread the shoulder blades out a little bit, right at the top. You kind of do a little protraction, and as they come down, you can do a little retraction. And I'm going to breathe in, and I'm going to breathe out. I'm going to try not to let the neck get tense. So just try to let the shoulders move independently, so you can be a little bit slow to do that. And let's do it just a few with the arms coming out. There's a little more work because the arms are extending out from the body right there when they're way out from the body, so you're going to feel a little more work there. This is also a really nice movement to do with just a small weight when you're warmed up. Even a can of soup you can use, or 3-pound weight, 2-pound weight. Good for the rotator cuff. All right, let's come back, and now let's take a moment and just do a few circles. How about we start with bilateral? I think that's the word, right? Both sides moving at the same time. So I'm going to roll the shoulders back. And I'm going to roll them forward. And if I try to, I can start to get little clicks. And I don't want to get the clicks, but I want to get a full range of motion. So if that happens, see if you can slow it down a bit and change, kind of start to move things around a little bit, if you can smooth it out that way. And then I'm going to do it back one more time. All right, take a moment there and just kind of let things shake a little bit, wiggle around a bit. All right, next I'm going to come a little more for the shoulders, and I'm going to come into the circles. Now the arms are extended out. I'm going to start with my arms low. In other words, the hands are below the shoulders, they're down a bit. So by keeping them lower like that, it's going to be gentler across the shoulder. And as I do this, I want to start to plug in, I guess is maybe a good word, with my feet and my legs. I want to really ground, feel really strongly connected, and then I can breathe better that way. I'm just more stable when I feel that connection with my legs. And I'm gonna go the other way. Whenever we extend our limbs out away from our core, away from our body, let's come back. We want, as much as possible, the core of the body to feel stable and strong. And then when we extend out to the joint, it feels that you get the better level of support, I guess you'd say, all through, not just at the joint, but down into the body as those muscles and ligaments come down and connect. So how about we try just a few extending out and coming back in. Now I want to work the shoulder blades. So I want to reach out. I'm kind of making a Y with the arms. And as I come back, I come think W. And as I do that, I really think shoulder blades together. So I'm going to breathe in, reach out, a nice Y. As I exhale, do a little retraction. And that retraction is also a nice way to open up a bit up here in the heart center, the chest, the thoracic area of your spine, so you can bring in the shoulder blades together and just opening up a bit there, just at the top of the spine, I guess you'd say. I'm not really feeling it in the low back. These are nice ones, these Y's and W's. Y out, W. You can start to feel that. I can start to feel that already in a little bit. It's starting to warm up. I'm going to say that. It's warming up in that area. And I'm taking my time with this. This is a really good one to try against a wall. If you go against a wall, you try to keep your backs of your elbows against the wall the whole time. It really requires some effort. When we're just here in free space, our body can move around a bit, so it makes it a little bit easier. But going against the wall occasionally can really be challenging. Okay, I am warming up very nicely now in the shoulders. I'm going to take a moment, and I'm just going to hang a little bit now. A little bit of a soft fold. So I'm going to bend my knees a little bit, and I'm going to curve a little bit through my back, the head hang, and just do a little bit of cement mixing with those arms, or egg beating maybe better because it's in the morning. So I'm beating my eggs here, just kind of all around. Try to let the arms just hang nice and loose. And then try to reverse that around the other way. All right, let's come back up. All right, arms and shoulders especially, hopefully feeling pretty good. Now let's start to come down to these hips a bit in this lower body. So I'm going to start with getting a little bit wider, and my feet are a little bit cut off, but I've got them opened out a bit, about a 30, 45 degree angle or so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to floss a little bit now into the knees. And I don't know if you can hear that, that was my ankle. So it's not just the knees, it's the ankles too. I'm going to lower that just a little bit as we just work it back and forth. All right, so I'll get a little bit lower there. So I'm just kind of, what I'm doing is I'm trying to get my knee to extend out past the ankle, and even if you can, past the toes a bit. So you can start to feel that coming down into the ankle space. Now you'll feel that coming in the front of the ankle and the shin. And you also start to feel that coming in the back, in the Achilles area, and just kind of going back and forth. And I'm still popping and clicking. Sometimes it doesn't feel I feel absolutely no discomfort at all with that pop. But nonetheless, if I can, I'm going to try to move around a little bit through that. I'm going to try not to keep doing the exact same motion that causes that little. But you gotta do what you can with that body. So, and what I want to start to do is to get these knees a little more warmed up. I'm going to squeeze a little bit into my thigh as I come forward. As I come forward, I engage that quad a little bit. And then I come to the other side and squeeze a little bit. So as I squeeze that thigh, it starts to just do a little, it just does a little tiny like injection or squirt of your synovial fluid. The blood gets a little bit more into that knee joint when you engage the quad like that. So it's a nice way to start to warm the knee gently as we kind of go back and forth. And now I'm going to do a little bit more into the foot and the ankle space. So as I come low, I'm going to press down that foot now, and I'm going to move the knee a little bit back and forth. And I'm going to come to the other side. So I'm just doing a little bit. So pressing down and also doing a little side to side. I'm trying to keep the sole of my foot planted, all right, on the ground. I'm going to go back to the side. And hips slowly, just, I'm not doing much with these hips, but just that back and forth. So now I'm going to come a little bit more into the hip space. So see if you can feel this as you come down low, you drop the hip a little bit, and you kind of go into that inside that hip, and you do that and drop. So it's like a little rotation, just a little bit. But I'm dropping down a little bit, and that opens up a little bit, and just back and forth. And it should feel good, right? This is not something that should be overly strenuous. So you can have a little bit, it should feel nice and almost like dancing, right? You can add a little bit of that movement to it. I'm gonna do like a little reach down. I was doing that yesterday eating, reaching down. You grab that wheat, you come up, reach down. And I'm just trying to get a little bit more in these hips. So I'm starting to work into like a little lateral or side lunge back and forth. And the ankle might still popping. And I'm just adding a nice, if you want to add that little smooth element. And I want to start to work now into that hip. It's hard to show it. You have to try to feel that. So you kind of work into that. Back and forth we go. And these knees and these ankles are getting more and more warmed up. And I'm going to try to get a little bit lower. And a little bit lower. And what I'm going to do now is I'm starting to come down a little bit. As I come down with my shoulders and torso, I bring my hips up a little bit. I'll go sideways. So I'm starting to now come a little bit in those hamstrings. See if you can start to straighten out those legs a bit. One at a time. And so I'm just working it back and forth. So it's almost like you're bringing your hips up a little bit. So you can feel that should feel good in those hamstrings, waking them up. And if this is too much, you come up a little bit higher, or you can always have a hand like on the wall for a little bit of support, or a chair, and just back and forth. And then let's see if we can't take a few breaths with a wide-legged. So I'm going to bring my feet a little wider, and I'm going to bring my heels out of it. I'm going to internally rotate my hips. And I'm seeing if I can just hang here for a few breaths. A lot of work on the back, holding this position. So keeping that belly nice and engaged, keeping the breath fluid, and just working those hamstrings a little back and forth. And now let's slowly come up. And as we come up, we can inhale and lengthen, reach up. Ooh. And as we exhale, we lower down. And here, let's come down on the mat. So now I'm going to come down and do some more movement and warm up from the ground. So take a moment, get yourself on your mat. I'm going to go a little bit lower with this camera angle. And let's stay a little bit with the hips. But now from the mat. So we'll come into our hip switch. So a nice open position here, like a butterfly. Feet are a little bit apart from each other. And I'm leaning back. And I'm just getting the hips a moment or two to, each hip is opening out. So a little external rotation for each hip. And then what we do for this movement, if you don't know this one, we just play with the external and the internal. So I let this right hip swing around so it internally rotates. Try to get your knee to be right knee at the heel of your foot. and try to keep that ankle down and back. And then I go the other way. I rotate it externally, and then this hip gets to come over and rotate internally. And we want to just work that a few times, floss it back and forth. I'm leaning back, right? This is gonna make it a lot easier. And we just want a nice smooth movement to the hips to get those hips, to get that pattern, I guess, a little more integrated until it becomes more and more fluid over time. And then it starts to translate out into everyday movements as you move around. And those hips are working better together. The way we walk, the way we clean when we're walking, when we're working around the house, getting low, going, changing your elevations. And you're just feeling a little more comfortable, I guess, or confident in your own body as you move it. More coordinated, that's the good word. Coordinating ourselves. So let's work. Let's see if we can get even a little bit deeper if you want to try. What I'm going to do is go a little more into a formal 90-90, a 90-degree angle in my back knee and a 90-degree angle in my front knee. And so the bottom of the top leg is going to be parallel to the top of the bottom leg as best as you can. And now I'm going to try to sit up straight. As I sit up straight, I really start to feel that in my hips, so you may not be able to make the lean. And now I'm going to come forward. This is a nice, now I'm starting to stretch a little bit into that back piriformis, I think is the name, back in that glute area. And then I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to try to hold that position without moving the feet. I just pivot in the heels. I extend, and then I drop a little bit, and I feel that. This is if you know your pigeon pose, this is like a nice modified pigeon, much more accessible because the back leg is not all the way back. I'm going to reach out, and I'm just going to, and this time I'm going to stay low and do a little bit of more movement and slide. And when I do that, I'm really working, I can feel that working in my left glute, working against the ground. I'm going to switch it to the other side, extend the leg, work it back and forth. I'm trying it again, and switch it out. And now I'm going to add a shoulder, right? So I'm leaning back a little bit on my elbow, or keep myself a little bit off the ground. And I'm just going to work a few rotations that shoulder, big sweeps as I rotate it around. Remember, try to get the shoulder blade involved in there. And also you can feel it coming in the side of your body a bit, in your back. I'll switch sides. So I'm going to go long, and I'm going to lean down, maybe leaning on your elbow, or maybe keeping yourself a little bit off the ground. Get comfortable, and then work around for that left shoulder. I'm on my left side, whatever your other side is. Big movements. We did 3. I'm going to do one more here. Or let's switch it. Let's try that again. Switch it over. And this time, let's do the opposite rotation. And see if you can even think long spine, and maybe even let your head turn a little bit with the arm. The head can go with that a bit. How about one more time? And then I'll switch it. The light coming in the window really wipes me out, but it's nice to see the sun out there. So I'm going to keep the shades open. Or one more time here. Nice. All right, let's come back now and let's see if we can open up for a few breaths in a bit of a wide straddle. Wherever you can go, find a starting point, and maybe you can go a little bit more, but it's a warm up, so don't go too deep. And I'm going to try to keep that spine long and that heart open. So you can, leaning back can really help to begin, especially to get that spine long, and then you open up. So we're always, whenever we're doing these little heart openers, we're always finding length first, and then we open up a bit. So we don't start to just kind of, if we try to do a back bend without the length, it starts to come down in the middle back and even down in the lower back a little bit. By finding the length first and then opening up, it's a more, I guess, maybe a little more subtle. It's higher up. You can even get the shoulders a little bit involved. And breathing. And then we'll see if we can shift that weight and bring the hands off. If you can do that, you have to work a little bit more in your legs there, and your hips, your hip flexors are working. Mine are all contracted to keep me from falling back, but it's not too much. So you got to kind of listen. If it's too much, you lean back and you can take the pressure off. If you can stay up. And then even work a little bit here. We can do a little flossing. See what you can do. If you're up, do it a little side to side, reaching out. And if you want to try to reach out to those toes, notice what you want to try to do is reach out and then let the hand drop and see if it makes it to the toe. If you just reach the toe, you have a tendency, we'll tend to like curl it down in our back, curve in our back to get to it. So I want to reach out and then just see if that was enough. And maybe it doesn't make it to the toe, maybe it makes it to the shin or something. So reaching out, keeping the spine longer. And I'm just working, I'm feeling that coming down into those inside hips there. All right, I'm going to release that tension. Bring the legs together. Let's come down now onto our backs. We're working our way from up to the down. And those hips, they need a moment or two. Get myself lined up. My feet are a little bit off, that's okay. So take a moment as you first lay down and let yourself settle. Help the body, bring it into a nice comfortable position. Symmetrical position is good. So take a moment, let your arms just be out to each side, your legs be a little bit open, so the feet fall out just a bit, the hips open. Shoulders nice and open, and you breathe. If your nose is clear, try to breathe into the nose and breathe out to the nose. You breathe into the nose, out to the nose, and just give those hips a moment or two to see how they're feeling. Hopefully they're feeling a little bit warmed up, a little tingly maybe even. And while we're doing that, letting those hips settle, let's just do a little bit of movement through the neck. Okay, so let's just start your head. Let the head roll. I'm keeping the back of my head right on the mat, and I'm rolling across that back and forth on side to side. And you start with don't go all the way to your edge. You start close to your edge of range, and the next time you come back, maybe you go a little more, and you just kind of start to work it. And if it feels good, you just go a little more, but don't overdo it. Just the movement itself through a comfortable range of motion is more than enough to feel good and to feel warmed up and to feel more ready. You don't always have to be pushing it past, I need more range of motion. Just the range of motion that you have, let it be lubricated nicely. Let it be ready to serve you with whatever you need it to do. And then if you want to, you start to extend it a little bit. But you don't have to. Let's come back to the middle now, give the neck a moment. And now let's work a little bit to the wrists. So from this position, all we had to do is start to circle the wrists around a nice little open chain warm up. So open chain means the hands are free. They're not against the floor here. So you can just move them freely and just get a nice little movement. If you have wrist problems, and they even just doing this circular starts to bug them a little bit. Sometimes it helps if you just bring two your fingers and bring a nice tight circle right under that wrist bone, and then do your circles. It'll restrict your range. It'll be much more controlled, smaller movement, but that can help get that area a little warmed up without bringing any pain into it. If you're getting if you have a little inflammation there, or just maybe old wounds, old scar tissue. And I'm going to roll the other way. And I'm going to lift up the arms a little bit. So now I can work from my back a little bit into the elbows. So now I get to roll the wrists and the elbows out a bit. And I'm going to go the other way. Now with these arms a little bit off the ground, let's extend them all the way up. How many shoulders feel? The shoulders are hopefully feeling pretty good now. I'm going to reach them way up, and I'm going to let these arms fall back slowly, and that should get rid of the shoulders. And then let's do a little stretch. So inhale, length. Ooh, and exhale, relax. As you relax, try to get the shoulder blades to drop down a bit. Your elbows would kind of naturally start to come down a little bit. You start to come into that W again. And let's inhale it out to a nice stretch again. Breathe in, little back bend. Reach back, and as you exhale, this time I'm going to start to pull the arms down to a big W, and I'm floating my arms a little bit off the ground. So let's do a little bit with the shoulders now from the ground here. So I'm going to inhale, reach back. I'm going past the Y, I'm going right into like a letter I. But then as I exhale, I bring those arms down. And the arms just hovering. And so I'm just going to play a little bit. You could stay with that very formal movement, reaching up and coming down, or some yogis like to explore a little bit more with like a snow angel type movements, free flowing it. So what I'm just doing is I'm keeping my arm a little bit off the ground and I'm moving it about. And meanwhile, my shoulder blade back there it's in the mat and I'm feeling it, and I'm kind of using that as the right amount of support. You could even here imagine you have a little weight in your hand. If you had a weight there, that would bring a little more pressure or force, I guess we would say, right up into that shoulder area. And you get a nice little stretch when you do that, as well as strengthening. Well, even just keeping the arms way up in the body will strengthen that shoulder area nicely. All right, let's come back and let the arms come down. Take a moment. Just let the shoulders enjoy the benefit of that gentle work there. Breathing. And I'm going to find another stretch, and we'll start to work back the hips. So I'm going to inhale, length. And as I exhale, I'm going to hug my right leg in. So I'm going to hug it right into the body, and I'm going to work compressed into that hip and the knee as well. And then why don't we work around that hip a little bit? So I'm going to roll it around. Just going to circle it out a bit. And then while we're here, this is always a nice place for a gentle twist. So the left hand comes to the knee, and you draw across your body. And as you do that, you lengthen the spine, and then maybe you look over to the right side. And that right, see if you can get that right shoulder to come back towards the ground. And sometimes you can get a little crack in your back. All right, I'm going to release it. I'm not going to hold that long. And now for the hip, I'm going to let that leg sweep across the body. And it falls open. So my right hand's just kind of supporting that knee up off the ground. And I'm going to twirl through my right ankle, all right, as that leg just hangs there in space. And I'm going to come back to the center. I'm going to hug it in again, and I'm going to switch sides. So as you release your one leg, you inhale and stretch back out. And as you exhale, you pull in your belly and you bring it to the other side, hugging that leg. I'm on my left side now. I'm going to work a little bit around. So I'm going to roll a little bit through the hip. And then a gentle twist if you like. Right hand on the knee. I start to draw it across. You get a nice little stretch right there through your glute there. And I'm going to lengthen a bit. And then I'm going to see if I get my left shoulder blade. Mine doesn't make it all the way to the ground. And then I look over left. If that feels okay in your neck. If it doesn't feel comfortable, just look straight up. And then I'm going to release it. And I'm going to let that left leg sweep across the body. And then just give that hip a moment or two just to kind of open up. And I start to twirl to the left ankle a bit. And now I come back and I hug in that left leg. And from here, let's hug in both legs. Let's come a little bit into the core, right? The core space. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to just lift up the head a tiny bit by pulling in my core. So find that it's your neck that's working to lift the head, but you also try to start to squeeze in the core to lift the head. So try a couple of those if you can. Try it first just without using the core at all. You just lift the head. And you realize your head's pretty heavy. Just lift it with your neck. Ooh. And then if you can integrate it in and you start to pull the belly in, start to curl up a little bit more. That can be a little bit, it's a little more integrated. It's a little more connected, and it works. It's a lot easier to do that. So then let's get those hands. That makes it even easier. Let's bring the hands behind the head. So now the neck can be a little less strained, and just kind of see if those shoulders can open up. So instead of having my elbows tight up against to the ceiling, I'm going to open them out to the walls a bit and try to open up a little bit to the shoulders. And then I'm going to work into these hamstrings a few times. So I'm going to floss those hamstrings and those knees. So I'm just going to extend the leg and bring it back. Extend it and bring it back. And I'm keeping the belly pulled in nice and tight to warm up that core, engage it, support that movement. I'm going to switch sides now. Yeah, I definitely, by the time we're done with that low mobility, you will be ready for a nice long walk. If you like, everything should be nice and warmed up. All right, let's see if we can lift both legs up, straight up if you can. If that's too much, if you have tight hips and hamstrings, you may have to bring one leg down and then you just extend one leg out and it goes a little bit away. So it's one of those things that if it's everything is nice and open, it becomes a lot easier to bring those legs straight up. And then let's just work through the ankles a little bit here. And if you'd like, you can bring your head down to the ground while you do that. So if you can find that nice L position, that can be real good for your back, good for your belly. And just working through those ankles as we roll the feet around. Ooh. I'd rather get those pops out of the way when I'm in the open chain, when there's nothing, my foot's not against the ground, and get them loosened up here. So I'm going those bigger ranges. Before we just did the simple, put a little bit of pressure. Now we're going all around big circles. I'm going to hug those legs down. And now a gentle, nice little figure four stretch. So we're coming back to that 90-90 type position. So we're stretching back into that left hip and glute and piriformis space. So I'm going to bring my left ankle right under my knee. So I'm making like that figure four, I guess. And I'm going to try to reach through and grab my back of my hamstring there, or my shin, or some people even just grab your foot. And you're going to hug it in so that you start to stretch into that space just a bit. It's not the knee. I don't want to feel stuff in my knee. I want to feel all coming right down here into your glute there, hip area. So it's going to be more on the outside. Now to come a little bit on the inside, I'm going to bring that foot down and I'm going to bring a little gentle pressure. So that's coming back to that external rotation into the hip space. But just static, I'm just pressing a little bit. So I'll bring a little bit of extra pressure and then I'll back off of it. Bring a little bit of pressure and I'll let it come back and do it one more time. All right, I'm going to switch sides. So I'm going to bring the right ankle right under the knee. I'm going to reach through, grab that shin if you can, or hamstring, you grab what you can. And then just take a few breaths here. And you can do that same kind of slow pulsing. So you kind of hug it in, increasing the pressure and the stretch. And then you take a moment and back off of it. I much prefer, especially, this is much more of a dynamic warm-up. We're not just going to hold that stretch and increase the pressure. We're going to just kind of gently work through it. We're going to increase it a bit, and then we're going to back off of it. So much better way to warm up the body to start things out. If you really like those static stretches, best to do those at the end where you're going to hold them longer and deeper. All right, let's come down now and let's open up that hip a bit. So I'm going to press it out a little bit more. external rotation, and I'm gonna back off of it, and I'm gonna come back into it. And I'm feeling a little bit, I'm not feeling too much, I'm not going too deep there, but I feel just the right amount. I'm gonna back off. I'm gonna hug those legs in. And can we just do a little bit of core work? Good to do a little core work every day. So a nice position is a Pilates position, the toe tap. So for the Pilates position, I'm gonna lift up my head and shoulders a little bit, hands behind my head. I have a nice little curve through my back, and my back is nice and flush in the mat, right? As opposed to the opposite, where you start to arch up. I don't want the arch. I don't want to be able to bring my hand into the back. So lifting the head and shoulders helps you do that, makes it a little bit easier. Or if you want to keep your head and shoulders down, you have to be a little more focused and concentrated, and you work a little harder to keep that back straight and back. And then those knees are at the 90, I'm gonna toe tap. I'm gonna start with my head up. I'm gonna toe tap one at a time. In the beginning, when you first start this, you may bend your knees a lot. It's a little easier than you tap right close. But what I wanna try to do is get to the point where I don't bend my knee at all. And I end up tapping way down my mat. And what happens when you do that, right? You have to get stronger and more focused in your core space to maintain that smooth motion and that light tap, right? A nice light tap down in the mat as you do that. So if you want to try to bring your head and shoulders down and really start to notice your low back wants to arch a bit. So keep that belly squeezing, engage, keep your back flush to the mat, and let's just keep tapping it out for 4. Can we do 4 more times? 3, 2, and 1. Okay, hug it in. Relax. We come into our bridge, or we come to the glutes. Let's do a few glute bridges for these glutes. So the feet are going to be about hip distance apart. I reach back. My hands are close to my heels. Maybe your fingertips touch your ankles. I'm going to press firmly in the mat, or even grab the edge of the mat. I like to do that. Grab it. And then you're going to start to squeeze the glutes a bit together and lift the bridge. As you raise up the bridge, you want to feel the weight shifting in the shoulder girdle, right? Not in the neck. I'm looking straight up. And I'm firing those glutes. And then I'm going to lower it down and raise it up. Then I'm going to do a few of these, and what I'm going to do is add a little bit for the spine. So as I lower it down, I'm going to try to come down one section of the spine at a time. And as I raise it, I come up one section of the spine at a time. So try to get a little tiny wave through your spine. When you do that, lift it up and fire those glutes. Coming it back down, raising it up. Those glutes are not going to fire unless you squeeze them. You got to engage the glutes to wake them up, and we'll work them a little bit. Why don't we'll do a little glute work too. I'm going to raise it up, come back down. How about one more time? Raise it up. Squeeze it nicely. Holding it this time. We're going to hold that bridge. We're going to hold that tension in the glute area, but not the face. The face is relaxed, all right? And I'm just breathing. I'm holding it nice and steady and nice. And that's my fist. That's a symbol for squeezing your butt, your glutes. So you're squeezing your fist, you're squeezing your glutes, but you're keeping your face relaxed, keeping your breath smooth. All right, let's release that tension and lower back down. And after doing those little back bends, counter that by hugging in the legs and bringing your forehead up towards our knees so we curl up a bit. And from here, I'm going to release it back down. Take a moment from this position. Let's come back to these shoulders a second time. So this time for the shoulders, let's roll over. We'll roll onto our bellies, all right? So I'm going to roll over. I'm going to switch my angle so I'm facing right at you, yogis, but you guys don't have to do that. You can just roll over. Either way, anyway, comfortable. So get comfortable. Take a moment to settle in so that if you need to make any adjustments, so you can lay here in a nice, comfortable way. I'm going to let my legs, I'll come at a little bit of an angle. I'm going to let my legs get nice and relaxed. Thighs are like heavy, I guess you'd say. Kind of sinking a little bit in the mat. And I'm gonna bring these arms back, and I'm gonna bring my palms on the ground. So just think about that with your shoulders. Try that. When you have the tops of the hands on the ground, it's closing the shoulder. When you have the palm, it starts to open up the face of the shoulder. So I'm gonna open it up a little bit. And then to do even a little bit more, I'm gonna start to lift the arms up, and I'm gonna try to bring the thumbs up. So I open up a little bit more and see how you feel that starts to come right up in the shoulder. Now what I wanna do is just do a little bit of back work and shoulder work. So when I inhale, lift up just a bit. You know, I'm not gonna look up, I don't wanna crane my neck. And then I'm gonna lift my arms up, and I'm gonna kind of lift them up and pull them back. And I'm just we're pretty warmed up. So I'm gonna try to see if we can just hold ourselves up in this space. Don't have to be too high off the ground. You can just be a little bit up. And I'm gonna breathe as I hold that. I'm gonna bring those thumbs up. And it's almost like I don't know if I've ever experienced it, but I've seen people, it's like someone will stand over them, grab their two hands, pull them arms up and back, to stretch them a little bit. Very gently, of course. But just kind of imagine this. Someone's lifting your arms up a little bit and back. And that may lift you up a little bit more if that feels okay. And now some of you can do that. You can lift the legs up and so you're in a nice little bow. A lot of back work here. But don't do this if this is, it feels too much. I've done this a lot, so I'm comfortable in this position. But you can if you're just new to this, you come back down, you take a pause, you come up a little bit, you take your time working on it. And then some can even do a little more shoulder work if you want to try that and do a little bit of that. Like we did before, I'm gonna bring my legs back down. And I'm just working through the shoulders a little bit, using just the weight of my arm. I'm gonna slowly let my head come back down. And then let those arms come back down. Oh, now take a moment, let the back recover. To help it recover, bring your arms right along the side of your body, palms face up now. Brings the shoulders right down to the mat. And I'm gonna bring my left ear onto the ground. I'm gonna try to, I don't wanna say press, but I'm just gonna kind of let that head get heavy to come into a gentle passive stretch for my neck. And just breathe. Now let's turn the head the other way. Try to get that right ear, or whatever ear you're on, the opposite ear. Try to get it to settle in a bit. A little bit active. You're a little active. And then you just kind of let it sink in. Okay, I'm going to come back to the center. And now I'm going to come into my scorpion stretch. For those of you who know this one, for the shoulders and the hips. I'm going to start my right arm out, perpendicular from my body. My left knee, I bend it. So my right arm is out, my left leg has the knee bent, and you lift that leg up and you walk it across. And that foot may dangle, or it may come down to the ground. Be gentle. You feel that stretch across the face of that shoulder. I'm going to switch sides. The other arm comes out. You guys can hear there's a truck out here. They're doing work on the water main all month long. All right, I'm going to switch sides. And I guess it's my turn today, or at least my neighbor's turn. I'm going to switch sides. I'm going to do it one more time on each side. Going to the right. And I'm going to finish on the left. All right, I'm going to come back to the center. And from here, I'm going to come up off the ground. So I'm going to press up using my knees. So what I do is I have my hands right up along my chest. I've got my knees in the ground. My feet are up. And then I'm going to slowly press up. And how about we do just a little bit of strengthening? So from those knees, let's do a few push-ups. As you come down, it's almost like you're extending out. You're trying to reach the heart out a little bit, and you really will sort of feel that in your shoulders.
and your triceps. If this is too much off the knees, if you want to start to build strength, and you're starting from, even this one is too much, you go like on an incline, so you can do this like on a staircase. So you'll be up on a stair or even against a wall. Wall is very, very gentle to begin with. And then you take from there. All right, let's come up all the way. Take a moment, come into your child's. So what I'm going to do for these hips, I'm going to open my knees out wide, but my feet are together. And then I'm going to drop low into that space. And I'm going to do a little sliding from my knees. Ooh, I don't know if you heard that. I slid too much. You can avoid those big pops if you start with just a little bit of a slide. And then build up the pressure. You build up the depth, I guess, and see if you can get nice and low. I'm sitting right back at my heels, and I'm starting to bring a little bit of pressure against the tops of my feet even. And see if your head can just rest down on the mat. And then I'm going to start to work. And when you're ready, you want to take a few breaths, you just stay there. When you're ready to start to work again in these hips, you just come up. I'm on my forearms, and I'm just doing a little side to side. Working back in those hips again. Back and forth, and I start to work up a little bit. I start to come in shoulders again, so I'm going back and forth. And I'm going to come up a little bit higher. And from here, I'm going to work deep in the hips. So I'm going to come into a few of these frog stretches if you want to try this one. This is a tough one, depending on your hips. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing my sides of my feet right in the ground. And those hips are out now. For me, I'll go a little bit on the side so you can see that. And I've got to get a little low can help. You may take a few moments to adjust, to get low, and you're feeling that. And then what you do is you do a little bit of sliding. Just when you slide back, it gets intense, and you slide forward, you back off a little bit. So you slide forward. So this one's just, and you try, I'm kind of actively pressing my ankles into the ground as I do that. This is a nice stretch, but this is when we don't often do this at a studio, especially if it's crowded, a lot of people, because it takes up some space and it can be a little awkward depending on how you're aligned with your neighbor, but you're in your own house, so you can do it here. All right, I'm going to come off that, and I don't want to stay in it too long. Things start to get fixed, so when they come off it, you may have to bring your feet a little bit together. Some people slide a little forward, coming up little by little. As you come up, take a moment, bring these hips back, move together, and I'm going to come into my tabletop position. So I'm going to take a few moments and shake out those knees a little bit. Tabletop, I'm going to have my knees now right under my hips. My hands right under my shoulders, so I'm nicely aligned. My wrists right under those shoulders. My fingers a little bit spread out. And can we just do a gentle little circling around hips and shoulders? And can we just do a gentle little wrist work? So to work the wrist, I bring the shoulders out a little bit past the wrist, and I come back. Bring a little bit past. And as I do that, I press my fingertips into the ground. And I'm going to switch it the other way. I'm going to come back. Let's come off those wrists a moment. Come off. Shake them out a little bit. Let's stay a little bit more with the wrists. Another stretch. Now I bring my fingers towards my knees. I have those fingers nice and spread apart. Nice and wide, pressing the fingertips in the mat, and I'm going to do a few circles here. Oh, they turned off that truck. Nice. So, stretching, and a little strengthening, right? Over time, we want to thicken up these wrists a little bit so they're a little more resilient, I guess. Strength and flexibility. It's what we ideally are looking for in our joints and in our muscles, of course, as well.
So move it around a bit. All right, take a moment, back off. So when you're working to create strength and flexibility in the joints take time, and you have to work on them a little bit every day, not overdo them. They get limited blood flow, most of our joints, so they don't recover as quick. So therefore, we don't want them to, get too damaged. So I'm going to do the back now of the hands. This to me is the most intense one. I'm trying to get the back of my hand down, and I don't want to bulldog out my elbows to do that. I want to keep them straight. I can't make it when my hands are up, but if it's a little tricky to do, you open up your knees if you're like me, and you bring your hands back a bit towards you. Then you can change that angle around. Now you can get the back of the hands to come down without bending the elbows. So if you need to do a little bit of that, you can. Some of you can maybe do it straight down, right down below you. Press it in, and don't overdo this one. Now, if you want to try something kind of funny, as you put a little bit of pressure on it, you start to curl your fingers up together. You curl them up until like a little. You really feel that coming all the way up to your back of your forearm there, and then you come back down. So you can try that little curling the fingers up. All right, we better back off that. That's pretty intense. Take a moment, reset it. You make a fist, then you press straight down into the ground with that fist, and you take a back off, and that can help really get things nice and reset. And then while we're here, this fist, let's finish with just a little bit for the side of the wrist. So I bring my weight a little forward. I roll and I roll a little back. When I roll back, I'm trying to get right. I'm getting a little pressure right down the side of the wrist. Forward, roll that back. Just don't overdo it. You gotta listen to your wrists. All right, then we'll come back. All right, now take a minute. All right, now let's come back into these glutes a bit, these hips. So let's finish this with a little bit of strengthening. Now that they're nice and ready and warmed up, so let's work a little bit of strength. I'm going to start with just a nice little bringing it in and kicking back. And this is for the glutes. It's not for the back. If I'm used to this motion, so when I come back, I can hold it. Let's pause a moment. I can hold the hip. I don't open the hip, all right? I want to hold it. I want both hips to be square. I want to fire that left glute. If you're new to this motion, you can drag your foot a little bit on the ground in the beginning to really make sure you're hitting the left glute and not the low back. So that, and actually it's a nice way to train yourself. And then so over time, you start to lift that leg up in the air and you work the left glute. All right, so you bring that in. Your core too, right? When you bring the knee in, you can pull a little bit into your belly and bring it out. All right, let's just do 4 more on this side. So I'm gonna do 4. I'm gonna do 3. I'm gonna do 2. And I'm gonna do 1. And let's try a few hamstring curls. So if you can, come into their bird dog position. So that left leg is just parallel to the ground, and there's the hamstring curl, and back down. And I curl, so I'm coming, my knees coming towards 90, and I come back down. And I curl, and there's a lot of, just to hold that leg up in the air like that, that's a lot of work. And then we add that little curl onto it, and I just do that for 3, and 2, and on 1, let's do a little bit of a donkey kick. So I'm going to kick up, that heel up, and I'm focusing, my mind is focused on that left glute, and I'm feeling that, all right? I'm feeling that. My right glute's engaged as well to kind of support it. I'm going to kick the heel up. I don't want to go way up high and start to arch my back, all right? I don't want to hit that low back. I'm just trying to hit the glute. So find the right movement. It doesn't have to be too big. The 3, and 2, and 1. All right, take a moment, do a little soft little roll, all right? A soft roll. I'm going to finish with 1 more strengthening for the outside of the hip, but roll it out a few times first. Circle around. Take a moment, breathe, give that muscle a moment or 2 to recover. Now the finishing move, I'm going to work a little bit of that hydrant move. All right, bring it up and out. And now this is like level 1. All right, just that basic movements, nice control.
If you want to go level 2 with this, then what I'm going to do is extend the leg out. And I'm going to try to dehydrate with that leg extended. That's going to work it a lot. Ooh, it's going to work maybe a few different things too. You're going to feel that bit in the back. I'm going to really get my right glute to be engaged to help support it. So it's like by engaging your right glute, you're using that right knee for leverage. That right leg helps push into the mat to help you control that left leg. Lifting up, squeezing that left glute, all right? And let's hold it. And those, if you can be here, and I'm going to do a few circles with my knee, or if that leg is out, I'm going to do a few circles with my toes. That's a tricky one. Go slow if that leg's extended. All right, just for 3, 2, 1, and then let's reverse the circles. 3, 2, 1. All right, come down. That's a lot. You'll feel that on that side. You'll feel the other. All right, we gotta finish it. Come the right side. Give your back a moment here. While we're here, why don't we? Gosh, I'm really lit up. I'm gonna shut that more. Let's do a little bit of give ourselves a few moments to recover. Let's just do a little roll into the hips. Nice little low back. Roll it out a bit. So you're kind of just circling through your hips and just work into the low back area and letting the glutes relax, all right, especially that left side. Get your wrists in a moment, come off the wrists, shake them out a bit. All right, one more side. So we come into that right side. I start with that. I'll angle it up just a little bit. I start with a nice bird dog. So I don't want the hip open. I want it dropped in so that both hips are squaring to the ground. I'm flexing that foot, and I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to bring it back out. Remember, if you want to modify a heavy foot in the ground, you drag it a little bit, and you slide it. And you still, either way, you target that glute. So that's the important, maybe the most important part is that mind muscle connection. So we're really trying to connect the mind to that right glute. And we're really keeping it engaged as we work it. And we work this one for 4, for 3, for 2, and then 1. You try these hamstring curls. Curl it and back. Curl it. There it is. Then extend it out. Squeeze that glute as you do that and come back. All right, for 4. Extend that for 3. For 2. And then 1. We do a few donkey kicks. And remember, once again, I don't want everything to start to load into my low back. I want to work that right glute. So adjust the angles. I pick a little bit up and a little bit back. And I squeeze that glute. All right, for 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to take a moment. If you need it, just bring the leg down. If you're feeling okay, just do a few circles just to keep it nice and warmed up there. And then we'll finish this one. Give those wrists a moment they need it. Put a lot of pressure on those wrists because you're probably a little bit unconsciously pressing into the mat with your hands, to use those as leverage to lift that leg. So I'm going to finish with these hydrants, lifting it up and closing it. Or some of you are going to challenge that and have that leg extended out. And you just notice when you extend it, it starts to, other areas of the body start to get enlisted in the endeavor of lifting that leg up. So I really want to target my right glute. I don't want to overcompensate with everything else in my body working, but it's going to happen. So focus on that right glute and lift that leg up. Can you do that for 3, and 2, and 1? And then I need a break. We're going to do a little bit. This is that right inside, outside that right hip there. I'm going to draw 2 circles. You can have your knee bent and draw it with your knees, or have that leg extended and draw it with your toes. And I'm really going to engage my core here too for 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to switch it for 3, 2, All right, I cheated the one. I'm gonna come back and take a moment. All right, can we come into child's pose here? Bring those knees back out wide, feet together. Hopefully those knees are ready. You could just rest on your forearms, or maybe you can get all the way down and take a few breaths and let those hips and those glutes just relax. All right, and let them enjoy their break. And then when you're ready, yogis, you can come up. You come up and let's finish.
Finishing, we're supposed to just do a little mobility with the hips and the shoulders. We did a lot of mobility. We did a lot of some strength in there as well. And hopefully things are feeling pretty good for you today. Can we just finish with a Dandasana pose? Coming into these hamstrings a little bit at the end. So Dandasana, that L position. Before we're laying on our back, the feet were shooting up. Now the legs are down and the head's shooting up, and we're working a little bit to do this. Some of us, maybe back here, you can do that. But try to see if you can get those hands off the ground and just use your core, your back muscles. I'm listening a little bit, my quads engage a little bit, but I try to then, I use what I need to use to get myself situated, and then I try to back off a little bit. Try to let the legs relax a bit if I can without losing my nice quote unquote, my line that feels pretty good. Now the shoulders are checking in nice, relaxed, head, shoulders, neck. Let's just take a few breaths here in this, Dandasana, our staff pose. Relaxing the face, the skin in the face, the eyes can close. And if you want to finish with a little stretch for those hamstrings, we breathe in. And as you breathe out, remember that little tip, I'm reaching out, and before I start to curve, when I'm ready about at my limit, I let the hands drop. Sometimes they can make it to the toes, sometimes not. So you see, and if you can grab the toes, you can maybe use that. But I'm always going long the spine, reaching out. I'm feeling that coming hamstrings, feeling that hip. And if you want to drop, when I start to drop, I'm curving a little bit, and I don't want something to pop out my low back. So I'm pulling my belly in. I'm keeping it, and I'm being very gentle. You don't have to do that, but it feels nice. So if you start to curl down like that, keep that belly engaged. You can do a little bit of upper back release here. Try to spread the shoulder blades out a bit. Don't let go of that belly, all right, if you're curling down. And then you come up. And from here, we best pause it right. We pause our focus mobility, and then from here we proceed with our everyday mobility, and hopefully it proceeds in a better way, more smoothly. Everything's more awake for us. So find a daily mobility practice, my friends. Warm that body up every single day. Take your time. Doesn't always have to be this long. We spent a lot of time today. We did a lot of work as well as mobility, as well as strength. But finding even a little bit of movement every day, working through your major parts of your body, your major joints and muscles, and of course, trouble spots. So may you all have a wonderful, wonderful day today. Hopefully sunny day wherever you are, and hopefully a very mobile day within the confines of our current situation. So namaste.